This is Apple's brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max, and even though it doesn't actually get any Apple Intelligence features for the next few months, there's still a few upgrades that maybe make it worth it. If you haven't already heard, the big thing about the new iPhone 16s is Apple Intelligence, which is Apple's version of AI. But we actually won't even see any features for about a month, and then we still will only get a few. The iPhone 15 Pros are also getting almost all the AI features. There's only two differences, which are the faster chip, which helps with Apple Intelligence, and the camera control, which has visual intelligence. So far, that's the only thing different with Apple Intelligence on the new iPhone 16s versus the iPhone 15 Pros. Since we don't even have any AI features to look at yet, let's just take a look at all the new hardware features because there's actually some really cool things that the new iPhone 16s do. First thing, even though everyone says Apple just copies the same phone from last year, there's actually a big difference with this phone. It's gotten a little bit bigger and you can actually really tell when you hold it. The 16 Pros are at 6.3 inches and the 16 Pro Maxes are at 6.9 inches, which is quite a bit bigger than the 15 Pros. Also, Apple says these are the smallest bezels on an Apple device ever, which who doesn't like smaller bezels? Then on the bottom right corner, we actually get a new button called camera control. Well, Apple hasn't technically called it a button, but it's definitely a real moving button that also gives you haptic feedback when you interact with it. The camera control is pretty cool though. It lets you do all sorts of things in the camera. Anywhere on your phone, if you click the camera control button, it'll automatically take you to the camera app. From there, on the camera control, you can do a double half press and find all sorts of camera settings. Then you slide your finger along the button to find the setting you want, and then you can adjust the setting while you're recording. It's definitely gonna take a little bit of getting used to because I'm used to just touching the screen, but it's actually pretty cool and I'm pretty excited for it. The other big thing with camera control is visual intelligence, which is another AI feature that hasn't come out yet. Hopefully it'll come out soon. But if you hold down camera control, it'll bring up visual intelligence. Visual intelligence is really cool. It's kind of like a second app, but instead of taking pictures, it'll take you to AI, and anything you point your camera app, the AI will give you all sorts of information about. Since we're on the topic of cameras, they actually made the ultra-wide camera a lot better. It went from 12 megapixels all the way to 48 megapixels, which will help with your wide-angle shots, but also help make more detailed macro photography. As far as video goes, you can now record 4K 120 frames per second in Dolby Vision for super high quality, super slow motion shots. And if you're using an external storage device, you can actually use ProRes at 4K 120 frames per second, which, I mean, that's gonna take up a ton of storage. I think it's like a gigabyte per second, but it's cool that you can do it. Probably the coolest thing about the iPhone 16 Pros is you get 4 studio quality mics, as Apple calls them, which they do sound a lot better and come with a really cool feature called Studio Mix. You can now put a sort of filter on the videos you take, which can change the way you hear background noise, and it works better than I thought it would. The other cool thing is the iPhone 16 Pros get up to 4 hours more battery life, and they upgraded the MagSafe charging. So instead of 15-watt wireless charging, you'll actually get up to 25 watts if you use a 30-watt charger or higher. There are a lot of really cool hardware features that come with the iPhone 16 Pros, but I don't think we can ignore the Apple Intelligence because it's actually really cool even though it's coming late. Siri's getting a big upgrade and it looks pretty cool, but they actually changed the voice to sound more human and it kind of freaks me out. It's gonna take some time to get used to that. You're gonna have the option to give Siri access to a lot more on your device, which will never be stored by Apple, only on device. Apple is actually promising that they're gonna let third parties come in and verify that this stays true. With this, you'll be able to do things like ask Siri when your mom's flying into town, and it will check flights, emails, texts, and see when your mom's flight is, which is really helpful. Then, if you ask Siri a question that it doesn't have access to on device, it'll actually go to ChatGPT. You can connect your ChatGPT account to your Siri, so then you have ChatGPT on Siri, and who doesn't want that? If you got a long text message or email, Siri will actually read the text and then it will give you a summary so you can just read it, know what the text says, and then you can decide if you want to respond or not respond. I've actually had the beta for a few months now and it's actually really cool how the summary feature works. I'm really bad at drawing, but with Apple Intelligence, soon I'll be able to draw something that's and then it'll take it and make it a beautiful artwork, which, I mean, that's cool, but nothing's gonna be human anymore. Everything's just gonna be done by AI. In fact, you can literally type something out, then hit writing tools, and it will give you a professional and a friendly and all sorts of different ways that this thing can be worded. And then it's not even you writing it, it's just the AI, which I think is cool, but also kind of creepy. Honestly, if you just want something that has the Apple Intelligence, maybe just get the iPhone 16 or 16 Plus. They get every single Apple Intelligence feature that the 16 Pro models get. But if you want something with better battery life, a better refresh rate on the screen, better cameras, then maybe get the Pros, because everything on the Pro is just a tiny bit better than the regular models. Apple steals my money every year. So obviously I got the 16 Pro, I'll probably get the 17 Pro. So see you next year.